Challengers was directed by Luca Guadagnino, and it stars Zendaya as Tashi. So in this movie, we have Tashi played by Zendaya, who is married to a champion on a losing streak. Her strategy for her husband's redemption takes a surprising turn when he must face off against his former best friend and Tashi's former boyfriend. And now we got our romantic sports movie. And I'm gonna say this right off the gate. I was kind of looking forward to this movie, probably due to the fact that I seen the trailers for this movie. But also, I actually heard some really good review embargoes for this movie. So I was like, okay, I might as well watch the movie for myself, form my own opinion. But after watching this movie for myself, this movie was such a masterpiece. So that is really, I'm glad this movie was such a masterpiece. And so after hearing the reviews for this movie, I gotta say, from my opinion, I think Challengers has gotta be like one of my favorite movies of all time. And also, it's easily one of the best movies I ever seen all year. So to be honest, I'm not really into sports, and I'm not really much of a sports movie person. It basically depends. But with this sports movie, I guess this is the only sports movie that I like, because this movie has to do with tennis. And I think that's it for that. Let's just talk about the actors and the characters themselves. Starting off with is Zendaya as Tashi. Now, Tashi in this movie, we go back to her earlier days of her being a tennis player. And you do see an explanation of how she met both Art and Patrick in this movie. And I do like the chemistry that she has with both Art and Patrick, or one of them, or well, most likely one of them, but also during her present day of how she stopped being a tennis player. She actually does coach her husband, because her husband is still a tennis player like he was back in the early days, and now he's still a tennis player till today. So I guess that's pretty much it for that. And Zendaya as Tashi is really good in this movie, and that's all I can say for Tashi. And next up is Mike Faist as Art. Now, Art is the husband. Yeah, so Art is the husband of Tashi in this movie, which is during his present day. So we do go back to his earlier days. I wish the movie does explain of how Art and Patrick actually became tennis players, and how or why they got into tennis, and why they love tennis so much. I wish they gave us a little bit of an explanation, but I guess they were running out of explanations for that. But so I do like the chemistry. So with Art's earlier days, I do like the chemistry that he has with his best friend Patrick, played by Josh O'Connor. They do have excellent chemistry, and but during present day, he is actually the husband of Tashi, and he does get coached by his wife Tashi in this movie. And I think that's it for that. And so Mike Faist is really good in this movie as Art, and I think that's it for Art. So last but not least is Josh O'Connor as Patrick. Now, Patrick in this movie, we do go back to his earlier days. I do like the chemistry, like during the early days, I do like the chemistry that he has with both Art and Tashi, but yeah, he does have excellent chemistry with both Art and Tashi in this movie. But so you do see more of the chemistry between him and Art together in this movie, because they've been like best friends, and mostly like they've been like best friends and brotherly figures to each other probably like for like a while now. But during present day, he does challenge himself against Art in this movie. And also, this is the former boyfriend. Yeah, and also Patrick is the former boyfriend of Tashi in this movie. And I think that's it for that. And Josh O'Connor is really good in this movie as Patrick. And I think that's it for Patrick. And that's it for the actors and the characters themselves. So let's talk about the tennis sequences. I do like the fact that we have every single tennis sequences that doesn't get boring. most of the tennis sequences, you can pretty much tell exactly what's going on. You do see the cinematography of every scene for a tennis, for every single scene for a tennis scene. That tennis scene does not get boring. You could actually see all the enjoyment in that tennis scene of the movie. You do see you do see like a face-off between Art and Patrick facing off against each other during this tennis match. And that's what I really liked about this movie. And also, this movie, speaking of early and present days, most of the times this movie does go back and forth to the earlier days, or comes back into present day. We do go back to present day, to earlier day, back and forth. And what I really liked about that, it doesn't rush back and forth, going back to early days to present day, to earlier days to present days. They do not rush going through that. They actually take their time to really tell you, to tell you what is going on, to tell you what's going on in this scene of the movie. So also, not only this is a sports movie, this is also a romantic movie. This movie is also a love triangle movie. So this movie is basically about both Art and Patrick. Yeah, Art and Patrick, their love with Tashi. So like I said, this is a love triangle type movie about Art and Patrick falling in love with Tashi in this movie. So yeah. So Patrick in this movie is the boyfriend, and Art is the husband of this movie. So, and that's what this movie actually shows you what's going on. But also the soundtrack in this movie. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack sometimes, like when that 1990s nostalgia music comes on, like over arguments or a tennis scene. Like it only comes on whenever there's an argument scene going on or a tennis sequence going on in this movie. So, and also the story in the plot. You can pretty much tell, you can see what's going on of how this movie has a lot going on. Yeah, this movie has so much going on that you can actually pretty much tell exactly what's happening in this movie. So, like I said, I mostly really, really like this movie. And I think Luca Guadagnino, who is the director of this movie, did an excellent job in not rushing this. And I'm glad this movie doesn't feel rushed. And what the director has done, he didn't rush this movie at all. He does take his time with the camera work. The camera work in this movie is really on point, and you can pretty much tell what the director is actually doing. And everything else in this movie I think that's pretty much wraps it up for that. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for Challengers. Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? With me, I've seen it. Since I've seen it, I like this movie. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for the movie Challengers. And I think that's pretty much it. Nothing much else to say. So be sure to like, subscribe, press the notification button, follow me on Instagram, comment down below. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.